Hey, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Scotch and Scripts. I am your host, David Radney. Today I am drinking Nika whiskey from the barrel. I have to tell you, since being introduced to this last summer at a party, it has quickly become one of my favorite whiskeys. It's hard to come by though, so when I see it, I buy it. This is actually a really, really good whiskey, and I want to share what I like about this whiskey with you guys. I took some notes here, but I want to just of course, you can see the color. I mean, we're gold on the color for Nika. The aroma, very fruity. Orange peel. I'm getting a lot of orange peel from that. Now the tasting notes say apricot, and I'll tell you, I don't get that from it. But the orange peel, I definitely get that right off the bat. Tasting that, really smooth, really smooth, start to finish. It's got a nice warm finish, nice and creamy. If you guys haven't tried Nika and you are a whiskey lover, let me show you this bottle again. Nika from the barrel. That's what we're highlighting today on Scotch and Scripts. Now, today we're going to be interviewing Tara. She is a real estate agent with Keller Williams out of Ridgewood, and she lives in a town called Wyckoff, New Jersey. And the reason I wanted her on this podcast is she's really doing something that a lot of agents need to be doing during this time. She has really pivoted with her business and worked on building her brand and coming from contribution. How can she best help the public? How can she best help the small businesses in town get the word out about who they are, what they're doing, how they're operating, what services they're offering during the self quarantine? And I've been watching her. I've been following her Facebook and looking at her on Instagram and IGTV. And I love what she's doing. And so when there's a blueprint out there, we should be following the blueprint. So I wanted Tara to come on Scotch and Scripts and share what she's been doing, how she set these interviews up, how she's distributing the interviews, and more importantly, the feedback she's getting. So, Tara, so happy to have you on, and let's go ahead and get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thank you for joining Scotch and Scripts. Welcome to a new episode of the podcast. Today, I am drinking Nika whiskey from the barrel. So, what do you have in your cup today?
I have club soda and vodka.
Hey, well, cheers to
Well,
you.
thank you for having me. Cheers to you as
Thank
well.
you for joining. So, I've been super excited about interviewing you because I've been watching you. You know, I stalk your Facebook and your Instagram, and I've seen so many great things that you've been doing lately. However, before we get into that, I'm really curious to know, how did you get into real estate?
So I used to be a teacher. I was a teacher in New York City for 12 years. And as much as I loved teaching, I had a feeling that really wasn't for me. Um, so I had always thought about getting into real estate. I have family that was in real estate, that is still currently in real estate.
Okay.
So I had my son and I was like, oh, I'm going to take the course. I'm going to take the course. And then I didn't.
Mm,
And I was kicking myself. Then I had my daughter and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. This is something I've been talking about and thinking about for the longest time. So with that said, I took the course and here I am. Um,
great.
yeah. And like I said, I just knew teaching wasn't for me anymore.
Of
I
course.
still knew I wanted to do something that was helping
Hmm.
people
And
because
you
I
taught
loved
history.
working with kids. Right.
Yes.
And, I taught in some very difficult neighborhoods in the city.
Okay.
And I always, what do I want to say? I felt like I was really doing something good
Of course.
for a lot of the kids. And I do miss that aspect of it.
Hmm.
I just knew that part of my career was coming to a close. So I knew with real estate, I could help families,
Sure
families
can.
with kids, you know, young adults starting out. I could help them
Hmm.
find their home where they can make memories with their own families. So I just wanted to continue to do something where I could help others.
Well, that makes sense. And being in real estate, you're also still in education because whether you're working with a buyer or seller, you're always educating them on the process of buying or selling a home. And you're
Right.
also a problem solver. Like these people have an issue, they have to sell their home or buy a house for a specific reason. And you're
Hmm.
there to help solve that problem and help them either get their home sold or find the right property for their family. So you're still in education as a real estate agent.
Right. With adults.
With adults.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, you're going through what we're all going through. You had your real estate business, it's going, you're rocking, and then all of a sudden everyone's quarantined and we're at home and we can't do business as usual. And so I really want to ask you, um, being a newer real estate agent, how did you pivot? Like what are you doing to make sure that you can still help people and be a problem solver and that people don't forget about you and you stay top of mind?
Good question. So, like you said, being newer in the industry, I very easily could have just said, you know what, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to cry, woe is me.
Yeah.
I had momentum going, things were going good, and then, everything comes to a screeching halt. So I could have just laid down and said, okay, we'll
Mhm.
wait till, we're out of quarantine and I'll get back up and running.
Right.
But obviously, I knew in my head that wasn't a good idea.
Hmm.
And knowing the person I am, once I'm in and I'm doing something, I'm not going to stop and I'm all in. So laying down and waiting for this to be over wasn't in my plan.
Not an option for you. Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Got it.
So, with that said, I knew it was going to be difficult. One, you know, husband being home, not
Hmm.
working, my 2 and 4-year-old being home, everyone home 24/7.
Hear you.
So, in my head, I was really trying to figure out how am I going to do this without, my husband being mad at me neglecting my kids, me yelling at my kids, me yelling at my husband, whatever the case was. I just was really trying to figure out how I was going to do this. And
Of
I'm not
course.
going to lie, in the beginning, I was very overwhelmed and stressed out, which I'm sure everyone was because this is something that is new for everyone. And,
Absolutely.
you really don't know how to maneuver and work around all of these things. So I just started to make lists. My lists were very, very long. And again, started to become overwhelmed. And I was like,
Mhm.
what am I going to do? I can't do all of this. I'd get to the end of the day and just things wouldn't be accomplished because I think I would get anxious that I had so much on my list that I wouldn't do it.
Of course.
So I backtracked a little bit and I asked myself the question, what can I do to help? I feel like that's me. What can I do to help?
That's right.
Coming from being a teacher,
Hmm.
now doing real estate, how can I still continue to be out there and, help others while also having my face out there?
Of course.
As much as I don't, love doing videos or putting myself in front of a camera, I knew I had to do something. So first, I created a birthday train for the town.
Okay.
That was
And
the first
what's a birthday train?
birthday train, birthday parade. So I had put a post on Wyckoff Moms
Hmm.
and said, let's bring some cheer to the town and do a birthday parade train, what different towns call it different things.
Okay.
So basically, people would reach out to me. I put my email. I said, if your son, your daughter, your husband, someone has a birthday that you know of, email me and I will add you to this spreadsheet. Once I put you into the spreadsheet, I then went on to Sign Up Genius, which I made a link for each individual birthday so people could sign up to do
Wow.
drive-bys
Hmm.
for someone's birthday. Beep the horn, put a
Wow.
sign out the window, whatever the case was. But there was only what I did, only one person could sign up every half hour, just
Gotcha.
so there wasn't, to keep the social distancing. and
Makes
that there
sense.
wasn't congestion at people's homes. And then people ended up, hanging out, talking. I didn't want that to fall back on me. So that was the first thing that
Okay.
I had started to do within.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It was, and I didn't realize what I signed up for at first. My husband kept being like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, signing up for another birthday, making another link, because it was each individual person needed their own link for someone to click on.
Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, what did I sign up for? But once I started to get in the swing of things and really, because initially I didn't know Sign Up Genius, and I hadn't had experience really with all of that. I just taught myself how to do it and to make it work. So from that, which it's still going on, I did it for March and April, thinking we'd be out by April.
Right.
Um, if we have to do it for May, then we will. But it has brought a lot of cheer to mostly kids, because they're having their birthdays and they're not their parties are getting canceled. So having someone drive by has been great for all of the kids and adults. My husband turned 40 and I put him on there.
Oh, awesome. That's
Yeah.
really cool. That's
So he was like, "Are
okay.
you serious? You're putting me on this?" But
But I bet he enjoyed it too, though, right?
no, he did. He did. It was nice because, get outside. It was a beautiful day. That's the other thing. It gets people outside opposed to being inside, because, it's easy to just go through your
Mm.
day to day and stay in the house. You need to sometimes just push yourself out. So if people are coming by your house for your birthday, for your child's birthday, then you're going to go outside.
Right.
So that was very well received.
Perfect.
So then from there, I was like, well, what else can I do for the town? Living in Wyckoff, um, there's a lot of us, a lot of real estate agents.
Yes.
And I was just, my wheels were spinning. What can I do to help others? You feel so helpless in this time when you see like the nurses, the doctors, the
Mhm.
firemen, the policemen, all those first responders that are out there. And you're like, well, what can I do?
Right.
you know? So then I was like, okay, I follow all of these restaurants in town. So initially I just started to share their whatever post they would put on whatever their specials were.
Hmm.
I started sharing them on Instagram. And then I was like, oh, well, maybe I should put my face out there
Yes.
and do videos with them. So I started reaching out to, initially it was just restaurants within Wyckoff. Then I expanded and I've gone to um, holistic nutritionists,
Hmm.
um, uh, physical fitness, trainers,
Perfect.
because those two things in itself during this time, I feel like are very much needed.
Absolutely.
Just, to handle the stress, your mental health. So I did that. What else did I do? Tons of toys,
Yeah.
just different businesses within the town I reached out to, just because, I wanted to support them and everyone in town to support them
Right.
as well, because, they're also out there risking themselves.
They're on the front
Just,
line.
right.
Absolutely. Hmm.
To support us, to make sure we have toys and Easter baskets for our children, tons of toys. Myers chocolates, all of the chocolates, they stayed open, working hours, hours. And then all the restaurants, they're staying open, risking their lives to, make sure we have food and have delivery, because it's been really hard to get grocery deliveries. And
Has been.
yeah, so thank God for all of the restaurants, because some people that can't, one, go out shopping, two, can't get a slot for delivery.
Right.
What's your next option?
Or you just get tired of cooking 7 days a week and not being able to go out. So you just want to break up the
Right.
monotony of
No,
cooking every day. So I get that.
right.
How receptive were the restaurants to you when you called and presented to do a video for them? Were they receptive?
Oh, absolutely. Very.
Okay.
I was at first, I was a little hesitant because I was like they're so busy right now. They don't want to be bothered by this. But it was the complete opposite. And I either did Facebook Messenger,
Hmm.
Instagram, called, or email, whatever way I could get a hold of them. That's how I ended up, you know, making the contact. And most of the time, they have someone else that's controlling their social media or, their marketing efforts.
Gotcha.
So it makes it easier for them to, they're in the restaurant or they're in the store doing whatever, they can just delegate that task to their marketing person. So I think that's why they were so receptive of doing it. And the majority of people that I reached out to were on board. They were really
Awesome.
excited about doing it. I think only one person was like, just not interested right now. We don't have the time. And that's completely understandable.
Of
They
course.
might not have those extra hands to help them or delegate different jobs during this time.
Of course. So I'm thinking that most agents that are listening to our interview right now are like, wow, that's fantastic. Look at what she's done. And I'm sure they're curious to know, how did you go about setting up the video? What type of platform did you use to do the interview? How did you distribute the interview, and what kind of reception has that video received?
So I initially, because obviously everyone is learning Zoom right now.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of just started to play with Zoom. And obviously with Keller Williams, we're doing so many classes on Zoom. You
Mhm.
kind of had to learn it fast. So
Right.
I did all of my video interviews on Zoom, and I would email the link with the time. I would schedule it
Right.
for whoever it was that I was meeting with at that certain time. I would send it to them. And then, obviously they would log on. My other thing was, are people going to have Zoom? And there wasn't one person that was like, well, what's Zoom? Not one person, because I was nervous that people were going
Of
to, I
course.
don't even know what Zoom is. What do I have to do? I didn't have to
Right.
explain how to do it to anyone. So that was a relief, because
Okay.
then I would have had to explain that, which would have been fine. And I would have.
Right.
So, I just did this side by side gallery view interview with them, record, and very important, my very first interview.
Okay.
Note to everyone out there, make sure you are recording, because my first interview, I did not record and I had to call that person back and ask them to do it again.
Well, that's tough right there, right? It's definitely a hard lesson to learn. And I actually have had the same type of issue. So now I have my Zoom meeting set up where they automatically record. I never turn it off for anything because I can always go back in and edit in iMovie or YouTube. So I just keep it running no matter what.
Right.
I'm glad they were gracious and allowed you to redo the interview.
Yes, me too. I was a bit embarrassed, but you move beyond that
Yes.
and put your pride aside and just be like, you know what, I made a mistake.
Hmm.
And you know what, the second interview was better than the first. So
There you go. You owned it and you got a better interview anyhow. So you interview them, and what are they talking about? Like, what questions are you asking? What are they sharing that's helpful for you to get out?
so initially, before we even have the Zoom meeting, I speak to them obviously on the phone, or even, before recording, we'll go over it. Before I hit record, we'll go over everything again as well. But when
Mhm.
I speak to them on the phone, I give them a little insight as to what I'm going to ask. If it's a restaurant, I just ask them how, they're managing. Obviously,
Of
how is
course.
everyone? Is
Right.
everyone healthy, safe? And then after that, just how are they managing right now during this time? Um, what specials are they running? Um, if they're doing, curbside pickup, delivery, just things that are pertinent to whoever it was that I was talking to, like the Savan who does the Zoom workouts. She works in a gym, so obviously the gyms are closed.
Right.
So I needed to obviously target my questions to her, because now she has her own personal training business that, thank God, she had set it up before this had even gone down. Um, just what are your time slots that you're offering classes? How do people sign up? Um, so just targeting my questions to whoever it was that I was talking to. And I would prepare them before obviously recording so they weren't blindsided.
Of course.
This is what they do. So, you know, they know the answers to the questions.
That's right.
Um, what else?
And where are you, once you wrap the interview,
Mhm.
where are you distributing those videos?
So once I finish the video, I obviously save it. And,
Hmm.
you know, you need to figure out where it goes on your computer because, it just doesn't pop up in documents or whatever. You need to search Zoom and then a Zoom folder will actually pop up. It just won't be there maybe the last one will be in recents, but not
Right.
the others. So
Makes
there's an actual Zoom folder within your computer. I don't know.
probably your downloads probably in that area.
Right. So make sure you just go through and label all of them so you know what they are, because then obviously you need to go through and click on all of them too, which is easy to do, but it's just easy if you stay on top of it and name the file right after you finish. So once I do that, save the file, I send it to whoever I had the interview with
Hmm.
and share it with them as well so they can, put it out there on their end. So I've put it on Instagram, social media, Instagram,
Hmm.
Facebook, my Facebook business page, my personal page, and then I'm also putting it on my YouTube channel.
Fantastic. So you have a YouTube channel. Are you also sharing it on LinkedIn as well?
I'm not, but I need.
Yeah, you should. You really should. There's also a way where there is a website called Fiverr. I don't know if you're familiar with Fiverr.
I feel like I've heard of it.
You can actually pay people to like create logos for you, create websites for you, but they also will transcribe video for you. And so one thing you may want to think about doing is sending them your video and having them transcribe the interview and then posting that on LinkedIn as an article, your interview with the owner of X restaurant or with a physical therapist or a trainer or one of the local restaurants. They can transcribe it and you can actually write articles and share that on LinkedIn, because a lot of people on LinkedIn like to read. So you just have to put content out for the people and how they like to receive it. In LinkedIn, they like to read a lot of articles.
Right. Oh, that's a good idea. Fiverr, Fiver.
ERR. I'll send over a link to you and I'll put a link in the comments to this video so people know. So you send the video over to them so they can share it. You're sharing it on all your social media sites. You're also going to start sharing that on LinkedIn. What are people saying when you post these videos? What type of feedback are you getting from your followers, from the public that sees your videos?
They're really appreciating the information because, sometimes people just they don't know the information and sometimes they don't have the outlets to find the information or maybe even the patience to look for it. So if they know, now people are gathering that I am sharing
Hmm.
this information that is pertinent to businesses within town and supporting local and really pushing for the town to support the local businesses. I'm noticing a lot more traffic
Perfect.
at my pages.
Hmm.
Um, and they're appreciating the information that I'm putting out there. I had also, with the restaurants, I had typed up a a flyer, I guess, and put all of the restaurants that are open in Wyckoff currently because, some have closed, some are still open. Most of them have changed their hours and
Hmm.
um, so I put that on my Instagram, my Facebook, my personal page. I put it on Wyckoff Moms. And because people are usually like, oh, is Wyckoff Pizza open? Putting that out there. And then someone posted, oh, Tara, tagged me. Tara just posted this um, flyer an hour ago with all the restaurants that are currently open in town.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and a side note to that, because I know you had said, things I've learned and,
Yes.
what should do go next time or whatever. So I personally reach out and call all of these restaurants. It's probably a pain for them because, I'm calling, not putting an order in, I'm
Hmm.
just, I tell them what I'm doing and just want to know what their hours are and so on and so forth. A few either didn't get back to me or, were so busy, didn't answer their phone. So I didn't want to put misinformation on my flyer, but
Yes.
people still commented on those ones that there were two that I didn't put on there. So
Right.
people commented on those. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm trying.
Right. Right.
Maybe next time I would have just waited till I heard back from every single restaurant. I don't know.
No, I don't think you wait. I think there's some FOMO, some fear of missing out. So if people start seeing all these other restaurants getting traction and they're not getting back to you, and so they're not getting added in, they're going to start reaching out to you,
Right.
and that's what you want. So I think the way you're handling things is definitely fine. As you were talking though, something came to mind that I wanted to bring up. I know you're doing a great job of having everyone go to your social media and go to your Facebook and go to your Instagram and to your YouTube, which is fantastic. And yet, what are you doing to bring them into your website? Do you have a website where you have maybe a blog where people can go and get this information, a blog where you post the videos and you post the restaurants that are open and what their hours are? So when people want to know what restaurants in Wyckoff are open and what are they servicing, they end up going to your site. You're the person who's doing the updating and sharing the information, and they see you as the resource. And so, yeah, they're going there to look at restaurants, but then you also have a call to action. If you're interested in knowing what your home is worth or looking at neighborhood stats, download my app and just kind of bringing them into your world.
Right. That's a good idea. So I could, in command, I could make my own separate landing page just for that.
Just
David.
for that, and a call of action at the end of your videos that say, hey, if your restaurant hasn't been promoted, reach out to me. I'd love to be able to share what you're doing
Mhm.
and help the best way I can. Here's how you reach me. You need a call of action to get those people who you haven't interviewed with, to get them to reach out to you and set up an interview.
Right. That's a good idea.
That's awesome. And here's what I love right now. I know the fact that I just said that to you, I know you're going to do that. And I love that about you, because there's so many times that you share information with people and only about 10 or 20% of the people take action. I know you're in that 20%, and I know you'll go do it, and your business will be better for it, and you will be helping more people and solving problems out there. So I'm super excited about that.
Me too. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I'm either all in or I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
even during this weird time,
Hmm.
still need to, keep pushing and putting myself out there.
Sure.
Um, but the videos have, the supporting local videos have really, it's been great, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from it. So I'm happy that I have done it. Just one, I'm helping people in town,
Yes.
you know, pushing to support local, and also, getting my name and, my face out there.
Hmm.
And like everyone has said during this time, videos, videos, videos. Who was it yesterday on Gene Rivers' call? You know,
Hmm.
couldn't emphasize that enough between Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. He more was leaned, Instagram and YouTube. He's like, everyone's on the computer right now. Everyone's reading something. So, even before all of this had gone down, I knew I wanted to do videos.
Okay.
I mean, I don't like them, like I said in the beginning.
Hmm.
I am getting comfortable, but I had started initially before doing all of these, support local videos. Each day I wanted to try and give myself a setup. What would I be putting out there on video? So, like, Mondays would be motivational Mondays. maybe I'd have a video, maybe I'd have a quote, maybe I would just, get on video and say something quick, like motivating to do with your day.
Right.
Tuesdays was Tuesday tips. And, I had started out, my first video was about first time home buyers. Um, so I did that. And then Wednesdays was what's happening Wednesdays, which today kind of turned to Wellness Wednesday because I put the nutritional coach
Yes,
out
I
there.
saw that. Yep.
I
Mhm.
just switched that quick. So each day I'm trying to target something based on the day so that I can continue to keep my content going.
Awesome.
Sometimes, you kind of just sit there, okay, well, what's next? What else can I do? Without obviously boring everyone, but people are going to watch you because they want to. And that's what I've come to the conclusion with. As much of a critic I am about myself, I'm sure I'm sure other people might be, but not, they're watching you because they want to hear what you have to
I
say.
want to hear what you have to say. You're providing value. We are always going to be our own worst critics. The people who are watching us because we are providing value and they are engaged.
Right, absolutely. So, putting myself out there because, and also I had told you this the first time I took push. I'm not from New Jersey.
Hmm.
I'm from upstate New York and I don't have family here. I don't have friends here that I went to high school with or grade school with. So for me, I need to be doing, making the calls and doing these videos to get myself out there because if I don't, I'm not going to get business.
I
So,
understand. I get it. I lived in Wyckoff as well, and I grew up in Ohio, so I didn't have that sphere of influence. So I had to make sure people knew who I was. And what I had to understand about being a real estate agent, an independent contractor, is that I really had to have a media company. I had to go out and promote myself and show people who I am and what I do. And right now, the benefit of our quarantine is that we have more time on our hands when we can focus on learning Zoom, learning YouTube, learning social media, and how to take these videos and get them out to the masses so people know who we are. It's brand awareness. You are a brand. People are going to hire you because they want to work with you and they recognize you and they remember what you did to help them during the quarantine. And so you're doing all the right things. You are building a brand. You are a media company.
mhm. Well, and also, I'm a people person, I'm
Mhm.
social. So being stuck in home and
Mhm.
not being able to either, of course, making the calls to FSBOs and expireds, it's daunting, but I do it.
Yes.
If you put me in front of someone, I can talk to, I'm a nice person. Not that I'm like, boosting myself, but I'm a friendly person. If you put me in front of someone, I can start the conversation. I can talk to you. So having to do this, and be stuck at home, it's difficult. So that's why, doing the videos, even though initially it's uncomfortable because
Right.
it's something different and it's out of your comfort zone, but it's good, and it has me talking to myself most of the time. But um, no, it's been great. And I'm happy that, I did pivot into
Yes.
this
Right.
because honestly, I don't know what else I would have done. I think I was meant to be doing this
Yes,
because,
you.
it's not like I have this big book of business that, I'm still crazed and all over the place and I have listings here, listings there. This is what I'm supposed to be doing right now, to be branding myself and getting myself out there.
I love it. I love it. Can I give you a suggestion? Another thing that just came to my mind.
Mhm.
You
Sure.
just mentioned how you're social and you love interacting with people. So, what if Wyckoff moms or on your personal Facebook, it just doesn't have to be Wyckoff people. However, what if you hosted an evening happy hour? Once your kids are in bed and whether that's 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, what if every night, Monday through Friday, for half an hour, you hosted a Zoom call where people could log on and you just share a story with me from today. Tell us something funny and you kind of talk about something great that happened with your kid, a great interaction, a funny interaction, something that frustrated you, and you just had a happy hour with all the moms that are out there, and you guys poured, a glass of wine, and you just talked and chatted it up for about 30 minutes or 45 minutes, maybe 5 days a week, maybe 2 or 3 days a week. What if you hosted the party and you invited those people in and they became fast friends because you guys are bonding over the same issue that we're all dealing with, which is being quarantined at home with our loved ones all day, every day. If you became the life of that party and people saw you not just as the realtor supplying me with good information, but Tara's my girlfriend. I feel like I know her now because of this bonding that we've done.
Right.
How do
So
you think that would go?
actually, I did initially, when this all had taken place, I did do a Zoom happy hour.
Awesome.
So rewind a little bit, and I did
Mhm.
forget to talk about this. I had started to do a thing called Moms and Mimosas, in,
Uh-huh.
but my first one was supposed to be March 23rd,
Oh,
canceled. So
right.
canceled it and set up the Moms and Mimosas happy hour, but we did it at night. And it started at 8 and we didn't end until 12:30.
Jeez.
uh,
Hey,
yeah. So Amy Scorantino and I were on there.
that's my girl. I love Amy.
Why? She's best. So with that, I had said, and I have it on my to-do list here, that I need to, because I'm going, once we're let out into the wild,
Hmm.
to continue to do the Moms and Mimosas and host it at my house once a month. That was my plan before
Hmm.
the coronavirus. Um, but now I had said on my list, I need to create a Facebook page, Moms and Mimosas, and just, build up a little, what do I want to say? Like a little fraction to, because I had had my invite out there and I had 25 people coming.
That's awesome.
So I need to do a Facebook page just to, keep the momentum going. And then once we can, you know, continue, start to do things again, I'll do another one, a live one.
Absolutely. In the meantime, though, keep doing it. Maybe once every Monday. Moms and mimosas on Monday.
Yeah.
These mothers, a lot of them, they have their own side businesses they do, or their husband owns a business, or that one restaurant or store where you can't get in. They actually know the owner, and they can actually put you in touch with
Yeah.
that person you want to interview. And you're constantly reminding them of what you do. You're helping them promote what they do. I think it could be fantastic if you focused on doing that like once a week, and people would look forward to spending that time with you once a week. And you would have fun. I mean, come on, you're drinking mimosas, you're chatting it up with local moms and sharing stories. It sounds great. So that's awesome.
And, obviously I wasn't, with the Moms and Mimosas, it wouldn't have been anything like real estate related, targeted. Obviously, if it came up in conversation, it came up in
Right.
conversation, more for, networking. And like you said, there's other, moms that are self-employed that have
Mhm.
business, do this and that. So I thought it was a good thing for moms who are either, stay at home or work from home, whatever the case may be, to network together, once a month during the day.
Okay.
Scott was like, wait a minute, I just realized you're having this event at 11 o'clock. He's like, you're going to drink mimosas then?
Yeah.
Most moms are like ready to go. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, 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 they are. So I have a couple more questions for you before we wrap up. Number one, around what you're doing to be the digital mayor of Wyckoff, what question have I not asked you that you want to talk about and share with people who are, especially other agents that are thinking about doing something similar in their town? What's a question I haven't asked you that you feel could bring value?
Hmm, that's a good question
Okay.
because, I mean, I have to thank you so much, because you having you hold me accountable, and you're not even like fully holding me accountable, but I know, like, I'm telling you I'm doing something, I'm going to do it because I've told you. So I have to give many, many thanks to you just because you push me in every way out of my comfort zone and I know I'm going to do it. So it's hard for me to, because you give me such good feedback and
Okay.
ideas
Okay.
that for me, it's hard to think what you haven't asked me because
Yeah, I think we covered a good amount of information. I mean, it's you cover some of your mistakes, and I think that one mistake you shared was key because now everyone's going to make sure that they press record and their interviews are recorded. So, like everything we talked about, I think brought people a lot of value. One question I do pose to everyone I interview is I want them to give me a question that I can pose to the next person I interview. And so I wanted to know, do you have a question that I could share with someone I interview in the future?
hmm, if you were in the shoes of a newer agent,
Hmm.
what would be the first thing you would do once we are out of quarantine, once you're back out and able to do business again? What's the first thing you would focus on and like run after to do? Does that make
Love
sense?
it. No, it completely makes sense, and that's definitely a question I'm going to pose to someone. Here's what I have to say, and I just want to pay a compliment to you as we wrap up. So many people are thinking about that. So once we're free of quarantine and I can go back to work, how am I going to go out there and do it?
Right.
I almost feel like at that point in time, it's too late. People need to be taking action and doing what you're doing. You have pivoted, you have used social media as a way to promote yourself and help other people promote their business. You're still making phone calls, you're still prospecting. So you have not lost that momentum. When the
Right.
quarantine's lifted, you're going to hit the ground running, and everyone else is still going to be trying to figure out what do they need to do. So I just want to give you kudos for staying plugged in, understanding what's important and what your job is and what you need to be doing every day and sticking to it. I think that's fantastic. And I'm super proud of you. And I love what I've been seeing, on your Instagram and on your Facebook page, and hopefully soon on LinkedIn and YouTube. I look forward to seeing it all. It's awesome.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. And, obviously, quickly switching to command, I think
Yes.
it's really important for because there's so many things people can do, us as
Mhm.
agents on command right now. I mean, I've just from putting Facebook campaigns on there, I think I've done a total of 5 campaigns because
Okay.
I've received 28 leads. Some aren't legit, like, it's the name and number, it's not this person,
Right.
whatever. Even if out of the 28 are something,
That's right.
I definitely encourage people to learn command, whether it's, watching the videos late at night in bed if you can't, because that's what I do sometimes. If there's so many classes to offer
Right.
that, it's hard to net, especially when you have kids and you have your husband at home and you're doing this class and that class to try and navigate it all. So that's what I do, sit in bed at night and rewatch, whatever videos Elise has done to
Hmm.
stay on top of it, because that's the other part. If you're not on top of command right now and everything else, then come May, June, whenever the heck we're let out,
Yeah.
it's going to be tough because command in itself can be overwhelming alone. So I definitely encourage, if there's, you know, newer agents, definitely, if there's anything, definitely focus on command and getting your database and everything up to par. Because
Sage advice. It's such great advice. And right now, we've been given a gift of time. How are we going to use that time? I really feel like we need to double down. And to your point, learn command, learn YouTube. If you wanted to do a podcast, do a podcast. If you want to set up campaigns, set up campaigns. You have time. And so spend that time wisely, because once that quarantine's lifted, we're not going to have these hours in a day where we can really focus on our business and what we need to do to make sure that we're building a solid brand. We have that time right now. So, yeah, great advice. Thank you.
technology is the way of the world right now. I mean,
Yep.
before all of this, I was like, oh my God, from, not teaching anymore, because I would always use technology with teaching. And then I had that gap when I was, stay at home with my kids. I felt like my mom. I'm like, oh my God, I'm losing all of my like technology skills. And even once I started real estate, I was like, oh my God, how it moves fast.
Yep.
No matter how long you're out of it, a year, a couple months, things move fast, and if you're not on top of it, you can get buried very easily because, like I said, I felt like my mom, and now I feel bad that I would always like get annoyed. Mom, just figure out the iPad. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, so
All right. Well, Tara, I want to say again, cheers to you and all your success. And I'm going to make sure that I share your social media, your Instagram handle, so people can follow you and see what you're doing and what you're up to. I
awesome.
appreciate you being on Scotch and Scripts, and thank you so much for making time for me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Always.